Maybe I'm not so much of a whittler, but it gives me something to do while I wait for a nibble on my fish line. And then some folks kid me a lot 'cause I don't catch many fish either. I guess I'd just like to get out here with the trees and the sunshine and sort of get in tune with nature. It makes me feel like a kid again to snuggle down here in the forest and think about how long some of these trees have been here. Shucks, a lot of these old trees have been around longer than I have. And maybe it takes an old duffer like me to realize just how much our way of life depends on the forest. We built a whole new way of life on bands of steel, tied to the earth by our forests, and we ain't found a better way to hold them down yet. We still haven't found anything any better or any prettier to build our houses out of either. Mighty comfortable on a cold morning. Our forests swarm the pocketbooks of 1 out of every 5 wage earners. That's thousands of people right here in Virginia alone who support their families from the forest. Yes, sir, them old pines have earned the right to stand tall and proud. And it kind of puts a lump in my throat when I see them old-timers come down just to make room for something else. At the end of them there wires, there's probably a shopping center or apartment houses or something else made of concrete and steel. But even that's pretty hard to build without paper. And thanks to paper, we can see the world a little bit better and tell machines how to make it a better place to live in. Sure, we need all the power lines and shopping centers and the like. So what we have to do is grow more and better trees on the land that's left. And I tell you, it's time we got busy, 'cause each year we cut more pine than we're growing. But our forests are a natural resource that can be renewed. That means that when we older fellers are gone, we can be replaced with new life to keep things going. But if someone doesn't take time to provide that new life, life will vanish with no hope of ever getting it back. Virginia is now 64% forest land. But if we don't do something, and soon, it could be one day 64% wasteland. How can we keep Virginia green, beautiful, and prosperous? Ask a Virginia forester.
Well, Mr. Rogers, you have a fine stand of timber here. And now that we've completed our survey, I'd like to go over our recommendations for improving your timber stand.
I'm interested in knowing what you've found.
This is a timberland examination map. It separates your land into sections according to our findings in each area. Your pine in this area is in need of a thinning. The idea is to remove the inferior trees so that the remaining trees will have room to grow. This way we get much better timber faster. What timber stand improvement really amounts to is whittling away at the rough trees to produce something more useful.
You mean a lot of my trees over here aren't any good?
Some are and some aren't. Some are diseased and some are deformed, and some are just growing too slowly. Look, here on the post. See these rings in the wood? Those are what we call growth rings, each representing a period of annual growth. Notice how the outer rings are closer together? This tells us that this tree has slowed in growth and is ready for cutting.
Then you mean if we remove trees such as this, the others will grow faster?
That's right. These trees will never be good for timber, but they can be used now for pulpwood. So you see, Mr. Rogers, with proper management, we can enjoy the value of your timber today and improve the value of it for tomorrow.
That may give us better trees, but what about those that have been cut? Shouldn't they be replaced?
Yes, but not in the same area. Over here is an area of hardwoods where something can and should be done. A lot of these trees are forked and twisted. All are the same age and simply will never get much larger. Yet some of these trees can be harvested and sold.
And that's where I plant our new trees.
Right again, only it's not quite that simple. Before we can plant the pine seedlings, we have to clear the land.
That sounds like it'll cost me a fortune.
No, not at all. The cost is easily justified. That's why we recommend prescribed burning. Under carefully controlled conditions, of course. The first thing we'll do is bring in a drum chop. This will chop up all remaining material and leave it on the ground where it will burn completely. Then we'll plow a fire line around the area to be burned. We also take advantage of natural fire breaks, such as roads and streams. But we won't burn until the weather is just right and we have all the men and equipment in position.
Richmond 2.
We're getting ready to start the prescribed burn on the Rawls tract, Route 619. The grid is 119632. We'll be starting at 9 o'clock and be finished around 1. Over.
We usually burn in the summer.
So where do I get our new forest?
It's already growing in the state nursery. The seedlings are growing in beds until they're 1 year old. They're lifted by a special harvester that cuts them from the ground without damaging the roots. The seedlings are then graded and bundled for shipment.
How do we ship a whole forest?
That's no problem at this point. A stake body truck will haul 500,000 trees.
That's a lot of forest.
We need a lot of forest, and as soon as possible.
Yeah, but 500,000 trees is a lot of planting.
We'll help you there, too. We'll loan you planting bars for use in areas where you have to hand plant.